This, I suppose, is akin to visiting a foreign country. You understand that these are just people just like you, but on the other hand, they have their own customs, they have their own way of doing things, they have their own language, and there are some idiosyncrasies, sometimes some very small things that are expected of you, and you need to know what those things are, or you'll come across as being maybe rude or maybe aloof or some other offense that you cause these people. Another good analogy would be somebody who likes to take hikes out in the woods, but they don't follow the path. They just enjoy getting off the beaten path and surviving. Call them survivalist if you want. Well, there's certain tricks that you need to know to survive in the woods. There's certain customs you need to understand if you're going to survive in a foreign country, particularly if you were going to live there. And as I was thinking about this, I came up with 4 things that I have learned over the years that I need to employ in my life. I need to practice so that I will understand how to live in this foreign country, this what do you want to call it, alien planet, foreign planet, where everything seems to be different, that I seem to be the foreigner. I am the alien in their planet. So what are those 4 things? Number 1 is I learned that I needed to get over the us versus them mindset. Now, by that, I simply mean that we come to understand that neurotypical people are different from us, so much so that we give them their own label. They're neurotypicals. And we have our own label. We are Aspies. We have Asperger syndrome, we have high-functioning autism, we are autistic. So there is a clear distinction, there is a clear, obvious difference between us and them. Well, the problem that I found that I needed to resolve was this us versus them mindset. And this mindset set in a long time ago. I mean, years before I even knew that I had Asperger syndrome, years before I even understood what autism was. Obviously, I still was autistic, I just didn't know it. But even then, I had this us versus them mindset. You ever heard that song? I think it's You and Me Against the World. Sometimes that's the way it seems, something like that. That is the mindset that many people with Asperger syndrome have when we approach the world in general. It's us versus them. What we need to understand, what helps me survive in the woods or in the foreign world, foreign planet, alien planet, is they're just people, just like me. They're different, but they're like me. You know, we're different and alike at the same time. And just like I have shortcomings, they have shortcomings. So I try to erase the us versus them contest that exists sometimes in our minds. That, yeah, it is us and it is them, but we're not battling each other. There is no war going on. The second thing that I learned is that I am not the world's responsibility. Sometimes people with Asperger syndrome sink into this depressive funk where they think the world is supposed to take care of them because they are different. We think the world is somehow responsible for us because we can't do the things they do, particularly in the workplace. Social environments, you know that we struggle. Well, whose responsibility are we? Is the entire planet, every human being, all 8 billion of us, responsible for me? Well, most people don't even know I exist, but when I go to a workplace, you know, people have their responsibilities themselves. They have responsibilities, their families. They've got their own bills to pay. They've got their own health care to consider. They've got their own mental health care to consider. Now, that doesn't justify or excuse people being inconsiderate, but the fact of the matter is sometimes we take that to the extreme and we think because we have these deficits in our neurology, our personality, that somehow the whole world is supposed to take notice and they are supposed to take care. Well, sometimes they take notice, but they do the opposite of take care. They try to expunge us. They try to get rid of us or get away from us. But that doesn't matter. It's still not us versus them. It is still not their responsibility to take care of us. And sometimes we exasperate the problem by having that mindset. All right, number 4 is I came to understand that Neurotypical people just don't care. And sometimes that is rooted in ignorance. And I don't mean that in a negative, critical sense. I mean literal ignorance. They just don't know. They don't know what's going on. They don't know that we are autistic. They don't understand what autism is. They don't understand what Asperger syndrome is. They just don't care. I mean, this kind of ties into number 2, but we are not their responsibility. Why should they care? But if we are expecting the entire world to care about us, we're going to be extremely disappointed. I mean, unawareness is a human attribute. Now stop and think of all the people, say, within a mile of where you are right now, who are having difficulties of some kind or another, maybe physical, maybe financial, maybe, maybe neurological, you don't know. Well, how many of those people do you care about? Well, the fact of the matter is you probably don't even know who they are. And for those people to expect you to care about them when you don't even know they exist, that defies logic, that defies reason. So we as people with Asperger syndrome, sometimes we get this mindset that everyone's supposed to care about us. It's kind of like we should just stick out like sore thumbs. It should be very obvious. Well, the truth of the matter is there is nothing physiological about people with Asperger syndrome that signifies that we have Asperger syndrome, that we are autistic. The closest you can come to that is many people with autism are physically challenged and that they're not the most coordinated people. We tend to do extremely poorly in sports, but there are some very obvious exceptions to that. There's some great athletes who have Asperger syndrome. So the point is, there's just nothing they can point to and say this person has Asperger syndrome. Now, somebody with Down syndrome, that is it's kind of obvious. Somebody with Williams syndrome, that's kind of obvious because there's a physiological telltale sign. This person has this particular syndrome. Autism, no such thing. Asperger syndrome, there is no telltale signs. So there is nothing that would indicate to other people that they should care about us, just nothing. And if we expect the world to care about us, others to care about us, we're going to be 2 things. Number 1, we're going to be disappointed, and number 2, the person who is supposed to care about us isn't going to do it. That person is ourselves. We're supposed to care about ourselves. Everyone should, this is not selfishness, this is responsibility. Everyone should take care of themselves. The way that I like to say it is, you mow your lawn, I'll mow my lawn, and then all the lawns will be mowed, right? So we take care of ourselves, and we expect everyone else to take care of themselves. But if we get that backwards, we're just going to be disappointed. And we're not going to get the care that we need. Number 4, fourth thing that I learned in my nearly 70 years of life is just be content with who I am. Who am I? Well, if I were to take out a sheet of paper, and it wouldn't hurt to do this sometime, and just write down your characteristics. How tall are you? What color are you? What race are you? What color's your hair? What color's your eyes? What is your personality type? What things do you like to eat? Just describe yourself. Well, I want to be someone else. I want to be like someone else, or I want to have the attributes of someone else. You're just going to be disappointed because you can't have that person's attributes. They already have them. Now, you can use successful people as role models. I understand that's perfectly a good thing to do, and you can learn from the success of others, but you can't be those people. So we need to be content, perfectly content, with exactly the way that nature has made us. Because naturally, we're not going to change. Okay, you can make some peripheral changes, superficial, hit the gym, work out. You can, ladies, you may want to put on some makeup. You don't have to. It doesn't bother me. Comb your hair, You can do those superficial things to improve yourself, but by and large, your core DNA, your genetics, are what they are at the moment of conception. They're not going to change. See those 2 rectangles on the screen? If y'all want to keep talking, let's do it. All you got to do is click one of those 2 rectangles and the conversation will continue. If not, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you all next time.